Hello, I'm Anthony Giarrusso. I'm this 12/4/2020, and I remembered my dream. So some annoying person just called me on the phone, and that's why I woke up from the dream, and I want to go back to sleep. But my dream was actually really good. I am at this school in the dream, a school that I've never been to before, a school with 2 floors, that's very small. And the entrance to the school is literally on one road, and then the back of the school is on another road, but it's elevated, and you have to get to the second floor to get to the exit of the top in the back of the school. So it's a little unusual. And the back of the school kind of looks like a small open parking lot right up in the middle of the city on a city road, and all the buildings are like towering over this area, this little tiny school. And I'm taking classes, and there's people and there's teachers. I don't really know who they are. And then I am taking these classes, and each class is different. And between each class, it's like a short break between bells, and I climb up these stairs every single time, and they're kind of ugly, rickety stairs. The railings are made out of wood, but they're not really like super secure, and I keep going up and down the same stairs between classes. And each time I go up and down the stairs, I always go outside to that little parking area where the road is on the second floor at the back entrance of the school. 5 or 6 classrooms on the first floor, and then on the second floor, I think there's only like 2 or 3 classrooms, but I didn't have any classes in those 3 classrooms on the second level. Very small building, unusual for the size of all the buildings that were around, because all the buildings around outside were much bigger than the school. So it looks like the school was like an afterthought. But it's my lunch break. So previous to this, I was just going up there, just to clarify, I was taking these different courses, sitting in different desks and in different rooms with all these different people. And then it's finally lunch break. And I go up to the same little parking lot open area, and I really started to notice around the surroundings where the school's made out of brick with this gray kind of mortar, and all the other buildings around were very different. They were like skyscrapers with glass and steel, and it looked very beautiful. This school didn't. Oh, I just remembered a detail. So every time that I went back down these stairs, there was always one other person following me, and it wasn't always the same person. And I would slide down on the right side of the stairs where I forgot what they call it, at the bottom of the railing, and I just put one foot on there and I'd slide down the railing on both sides. And it's just so hard to explain. Like, you would literally have to be there in my dream to really understand what I witnessed. But that was just a little detail. Anyway, this time during my lunch break in my dream, I come up to the parking lot and I see a whole bunch of really nice cars, and I see this truck loading all these really nice cars. There were 2 cars in the truck already when I got over there. I don't know what the first car was. It was in the way back. Then there was a car. I'm not sure if it was a Porsche or if it was an RUF, pronounced roof. But I could tell that it had those rounded headlights, and it looked very much like one of those. I'm not entirely sure what model it was, but I could definitely tell it was either a Porsche or a roof. And for those who don't know the difference between Porsche and roof, which is short for roofettes, pretty much makes their own interiors, their own powertrain, a lot of times they use different brakes and different other parts, but they use the actual physical chassis of Porsche, and they also use the bodies of Porsche for their vehicles. But their drivetrains are almost always completely different from what Porsche makes. Anyway, so this truck, it had like a blue cab, and it had this very long silver, it was like a bed, but it was covered. So imagine a flatbed truck, but it was covered with these walls and a top, and it was silver. But it wasn't shiny silver, it was just kind of like a painted silver paint. But it had a very nice finish to it, almost as if it was like polyurethane on the outside of this kind of truck thing. And it was very long. It was longer than any other flatbed I've ever seen. It had at the back of the truck, it had one of those ramps similar to a truck that would normally carry cars, but this truck in my dream was not just like a regular truck that would normally carry cars. It was pretty unusual. It was one level, right? Most car, truck towing things have two levels, and you can see the cars, right? You see those things driving down the highway and stuff all the time. This in my dream wasn't like that. It's completely covered, and on the inside there was these lights, and there were like blue and white lights in there, but they were very soft and monotone. They weren't bright or hurting your eye. They were very soft lights inside of this thing. And then I see this line of all these very expensive high-end cars, and one of them I recognize as a matte lime green Maserati. But what's so strange is in the dream, I don't think I've ever seen a Maserati that actually looks like that in real life. I don't think that's even a real Maserati. But in the dream, I identified it as a real Maserati. And it was lime green. Engine at the front. Looked like a rear-wheel drive car, but it looked like it was from like the 70s or the 60s. And it actually kind of looked more like a Jaguar E-Type, but kind of merged into like a Maserati-like form. It was kind of unusual because I've never seen a car like that before in my life. But it did have the Maserati logo on it, on the front, and it had like this chrome bumper. Then I think there was a car in front of it. I can't remember what color that car was. And then there's this purple car that looks a little ugly. I thought it might have been, something like a Radical or one of those Caterhams, but the Caterham car that's a closed wheel car. Most people think of Caterham, they think of that small kit car that is open wheel. That was not what I saw. It was literally like a closed wheeled Caterham or a closed wheeled Radical type car, but it was a little squishy in it. Or, well, I shouldn't say squishy. That's not the right word. It looked like it was a little squished together, like it was short wheelbase. Right, it looked kind of like a road legal race car, pretty much, or a track day car. With no roof or any of that stuff. But it was painted dark purple, one of my favorite colors. Lime green and dark purple are some of my favorite colors, by the way. And all these people got into their cars and they drove them really fast into this truck, and these people are like a team. They're showing the teamwork, and the truck driver's like, "Great job, team. You know, you got them in real fast." And then the guy walks back to the cab, the blue cab of this truck, and pulls away with all these cars. Then about 2 or like 10 seconds later, after the truck disappears and takes a corner, a car that I did recognize, it was an Aston Martin Rapide, which is a um, four-door Aston Martin, that showed up and parked in the parking lot in front of the exit of the school. And there's like this darker skinned, kind of scruffy looking hair on his head, black hair person, almost as if he was like Latino, but he didn't really have Latino facial features, just kind of the Latino type of darker white skin, if that makes any sense. And he opens the door and he gets out of his Rapide, and he just kind of stands in front of it looking at it. And for some reason in the dream, I felt like, oh my goodness, this guy missed getting onto that truck, which I think he was supposed to be on that truck, because I remembered at that time in the dream that the guy said that there was one person left, but they couldn't wait to pick him up because he was late. But what's so funny is that in the actual dream, I don't actually remember anybody saying that. But it's just the thought came into my mind in that dream at that specific time. Then I went back into school and I realized I didn't eat my lunch. It was only like less than 10 minutes left to eat my lunch. So somehow a lunchbox is in my hand, and I slide down the stairs, and there's some other kid. This kid, I believe he was a kid, I think he was going there, and he's following me down the stairs, but this kid's followed me down the stairs like 2 or 3 other times previously, but before that was other people. And I can't really describe the kid that well. I think he was white with like kind of like a grayish blonde, kind of curly hair, but very flat on top. Very unusual. And I think the kid was wearing jeans. I think they were blue jeans. I think he was wearing a blue shirt, but I really can't remember. I might be completely inaccurate with that. But I kind of remember the hair a little bit. But I never figured out who this guy was, but this other child that was going to that school was following me down the stairs, and I get like a telepathic message in my dream. Something that says, "Don't give up on yourself," or something. I can't remember the exact quote, but it was like a "don't give up on yourself" message. Something similar to that, but not giving up on myself. And then in real life, that phone call happened, and now I want to go back to sleep. You could probably tell in my voice of this that I was pretty tired. Because I am. And that was the dream. Alright, thank you for listening. I think the best part of the dream was seeing those really cool cars and how quickly they put them on that truck. That was kind of cool. But Alright, good night.